Right, so as I was saying before the break, I think there are 3 things that I wanted to do before we start the call in about 50 minutes. The first thing is I chose Pasquale
Yeah.
to take the role of facilitator. What advice would you like to give to Pasquale about how he should approach this from your own experience? You all have experience of conference calling and video conferencing. What kinds of things have you noticed from your own experience that would be useful for Pasquale to remember?
The opening, a warm welcome.
Okay.
What makes us successful?
You don't know these people, do you?
No.
So, if you don't know them, that's what you naturally want to do, perhaps.
Just ask to introduce themselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
So, warm welcome, introduction, names would be good.
Yeah.
Anything else? But from your experience, Pasquale.
Usually the role in the company that they have.
Okay. Names and position. So a little bit of personal information. So you might be prepared as well to give a very brief bio of yourself, if you like, which is really the name, the company, and your position within the company. Okay, so then we get that's the beginning under control. What about?
Do we have a common understanding of the topics of today?
You have to agree about them again.
Agreement.
Okay.
Discussion.
So. Okay. Which should be straightforward, but let's make sure that it's clear to everybody on both sides of the screen. Okay, what else? Again, from your experience, what are the problems that you've encountered with conference calling or with communicating in this way?
Communication rules, maybe.
Okay.
Communication rules, and do we have the same conditions, like how long time?
Timing, yes, I said about 40 minutes maximum. If you reached a solution after 20 minutes, I'd be amazed. I don't think it's likely. What makes it different when you're around the table talking to each other compared with talking to a video screen, television screen with people? Because if you look at where you are on this screen, it's not always so easy to necessarily identify who is speaking. That's one of the problems we found last week. So what do you think is a practical solution to that?
So
some hands are like this.
In this case, Pasquale, it's actually more difficult for you to intervene with a lot of content, because I think in conference calls very often the facilitator, which is another name we give to this person, is usually concentrating fully on trying to manage the communication. Yeah. So let's use this was my point. Let's use names when giving opinions and when responding and when questioning. Now, this is quite a difficult thing to remember, because we don't normally do that when we're around the table, but I think in a conference call, from my experience, it can make the process more effective, more efficient.
with more discipline.
A bit more discipline, but also it's clearer who you are speaking to. It's clearer.
Therefore, I would say, as a facilitator,
Yeah.
that we need a kind of structure, organizing of a structure for these 40 minutes.
Okay.
How do we want to run through this session, right?
Okay. Structure for the call.
Structure for the call.
Yeah, or maybe we could also call it a procedure. A suggested procedure.
Suggested.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, this is it's another fact. What? Can I ask you a quick question? What's the difference between a procedure and a process? What's the difference?
A procedure is the framework for the process.
Okay. What's the process?
It's a
procedure has some logic in the order.
Okay.
However, process is just process, don't have a logic.
Okay, a process, I mean, I always think of it, yeah, I think that's, both of those things are getting close. A process is what happens, a series of actions. And a procedure is how they should happen. The best way.
Should be acceptable rules.
Yes, the acceptable way of carrying out a process. So this is a process, but it needs some kind of procedure, some guidelines.
tonality and so on.
To a certain extent, we'll have to see how this goes. We'll have to see how this goes once we start. But I think once we start getting into it, it will be reasonably successful. If anything is going really wrong at any point, or it's breaking down for whatever reason, I've got an iPad, and on my iPad I will write in big letters a suggestion about how to move it on, or if there is any vocabulary you need.
Okay.
So without speaking, I will hold it up and.
Okay. I see.
Because that's my. It's a bit like what the person in the theatre who is standing next to the stage when the actor forgets their words or something. So let's see.
Can you hear us?
Yes, I think at the moment it's
Okay.
good. Can you understand us?
Yeah.
Very well, thanks. So,
Okay, now it's better. Okay.
okay.
Okay, great.
So, welcome everybody to this conference call. I'm very glad to have all of you here. The purpose of this meeting is to agree on a set of courses that our company has luckily won in a tender. Before we start, I will just kindly ask you to briefly introduce yourself, your names, and what do you do in your life, just to get familiar with each other. May we start?
Okay, that would be a good idea. Shall I start?
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. My name is Markus Baumgartner. I'm from Switzerland. I work in the financial department as a controller, and I've been here since last Sunday, since this Sunday weeks ago. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, my name is Thomas. I come from Switzerland also. It's my second day in Canterbury, and I work as a consultant.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'm the next. Hello, my name is Andy. I'm from Germany. I'm for 1 week here, and I'm a key account manager.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Please.
Transparently, from which part of Switzerland?
I'm from the German part of Switzerland.
Thank you. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, can I introduce myself? I'm Atsushi from Japan. Nice to meet you. And I'm a marketing manager of Mitsubishi Corporation. Nice to meet you.
It's also a pleasure for me to meet you. My name is Richard. I'm coming from Germany, the south of Germany, and I'm working for Mercedes-Benz subsidiary called Dana Financial Services in headquarters in Stuttgart.
Okay, nice to meet you too. My name is Franz Toporek. I'm here for 1 week and I work as a financial controller at the airport in Vienna.
So, my name is Pasquale. I am purchasing manager for Fiat Chrysler Group. I'm here since yesterday. Before we go on into the conversation, I would suggest just a few guidelines because of the medium that we are using. So, because we are in a conference call, video conference, I would suggest to please avoid interrupting each other, otherwise it becomes quite difficult to understand from both sides. The other suggestion would be to raise your hand when you want to talk, so that everybody is aware of this. And also to always say your name before you start talking, so that everybody can, from each side, can see who is talking on the other side and remember the names. At least for the first times, just please restate your name so that everybody can understand. Would this be okay for you?
Do you agree?
Do you agree?
Sorry, we can't understand you anymore at the moment.
Okay.
Okay, now it's clear.
Okay. Do you agree with these guidelines? Should I repeat it again? If you do not, yes, please.
Yes, we agree.
For the first time we agree, yes. It's not common for a video conference because now we can see us together here and see, so yeah.
Okay.
That's okay.
Okay. So just to restate, I think now we can really start. So just to restate, the objective of this meeting is to decide which school will hold the courses for this specific Swiss watch manufacturer training needs. My suggestion to structure this video conference will be to spend few minutes, and I would suggest 5 minutes each, from both sides to highlight which are the positive of each school, and then to start the discussion about it. Does this sounds good to you?
Not really. Sorry about that.
Why not? We can reschedule a video conference for next week and decide with information that is missing at this point. Sounds good, this for you?
Yeah, yes, yeah, sounds good.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Perfect.
Complete agree.
Are there any other questions or other topics you plan to discuss about?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
Maybe later.
Next
In the
Okay. Okay. So
I think we have a nice problem to manage. We have clients that want to come to English and to learn English.
Right.
So that is very motivating, and I think we will find a solution, and I'm convinced we will find one. Okay.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So, see you
And now?
I think.
Excellent. So yeah, I think we'll call it a day there. Thank you very much. for your participation and enjoy the rest of your time in Canterbury. And if you'd like to say goodbye to each other, you can wait.
Bye bye. Be successful. Enjoy.
Okay. Bye bye. Thank you.
Great.
Great
job.
Yeah.
Great job. Well done.
No agreement, Richard. We reached an agreement to postpone the decision.
But
It is part of the Italian way to do things.
Our applause was for the kind of doing this job, and I would say was well done from your side. So thank you for your chairing this meeting.
Yes, I thought
It
you.
was really pushing, not listening.
Well, again, I mean, that could be to do with, I think you could say, it's very, very unsophisticated analysis, but you could argue that the higher your level of the language, the easier it is, the more tools you have to pull from people, because you have to be more sophisticated about it. Whereas perhaps the less vocabulary or grammatical variety you have, the easier it is to push. I mean, that's certainly, I mean, I think that is, from my experience, I would say that's one observation that is generally speaking true. I mean, I thought, you were trying to pull a little bit more than push in that sense, but yes, but it's not only connected to the language you use, I think it's also, it can be connected to these factors as well, the tone of voice, if it's quite high, or the loudness, or the speed even that somebody is speaking at. It has an effect on the attitude, the way that we perceive somebody's communication. From which point of view, did you feel comfortable with the situation? I mean, you have a pretty good level of language.
Not really, they're very confident, but somehow.
But it was, you were good. I think you used a relatively diplomatic style of language. Your tone of voice as well is fairly quiet. It's not too loud. Because at some point there was, which guy was it who was speaking quite loud? Thomas. I mean, it does have an impact.
The middle one,
Receive the message. That's certainly one of my comments. Is not only about what language you use, but how you deliver the language, because it's going to affect the way in which the message is received, which affects things like intonation. It's things like pausing. I think I often refer to the power of the pause. And when I say pause, I don't mean for 30 seconds or something, where people think, hello, what's happened? No, I mean just 2 seconds or something, a second. When you're saying something, when you're presenting an idea, to give time to the other person to assimilate that idea, to kind of process it as it goes through. Because at times, I don't think it happens so much here, but certainly my feedback for Thomas would be, gosh, he spoke very fast. And there was no pause. And there was a lot of information coming out all at the same time, and it's not so easy to process that information. If you have a high level of English, maybe it's not such a problem. But again, working internationally, you don't know what level of English your counterparts might have. So it's something to consider. So what kind of expression could you use if you haven't said anything for a little while, and then you think, I want to contribute here? How do you enter a conversation? What can you actually say or do to stop somebody from? Around the table, it's easy. You can use your facial expression. You can attract the attention. In this context, it's much more difficult. How can you do it? I know. I have a secret way. It's what I mentioned earlier. If you use
also.
Somebody's name.
Yeah, the name.
Right. Somebody's name.
The name.
Usually, on the whole, you performed really well. So thank you very much. It's nearly 5:15, so I'll stop. I've had overtime today because I've only done one session. So I'm all exhausted and I'm full of energy, so